Welcome to Rauta's Vinyl Monday. It's yet another indie release, this time very self-financed one from Switzerland. This is Aspaarn from the third album, with the third album. And let's just quickly unwrap it. Obviously I have opened it for review purposes. How on earth I would listen to it without opening it, but left it the final unwrapping for you. This is how it looks, a mountainscape here, which then again fits very, very well. Aspaarn coming from Switzerland, one-man project, or band, if you want to call a one-man band, solo projects, bands. When iron meant survival. You can read it many ways. I mean, it's still very much present when you hit the gym, or you can just go back to the romantic ages when you needed iron weapons and all that stuff. Whatever happened to Bronze Age goes beyond me. Here is the track list, obviously, and a band picture, if you will. Inside we obviously find a piece of paper, also known as the lyrics sheet, as well as some information here, recording and what have you on the one side, and saying here that vinyl edition limited to 100 copies. So definitely some kind of a collector's item. And then we have the vinyl here, which is labeled as side one tooth and second tooth. Don't know where this tooth idea came from, considering this was all about iron and survival. Maybe it's teeth and survival. Jokes aside, this is the third album by the very act, Aspaarn, coming from Lausanne, Switzerland, and raw black metal is the name of the game. For once, I can pretty much 100% agree with Metal Archive's labeling for this band, because this is indeed primitive and raw black metal. A lot of you obviously out there know what it means, and this band that was started around 2021 is now indeed with the third album after demos, previous albums, an EP and all that stuff. Now, when we're talking about raw black metal, you can go various directions with it, various definitions and all that stuff. And I would say this kind of reminds me of Darkthrone. But even that is a little bit misleading, because various people obviously tend to think different things when you're talking about Darkthrone, even when it actually was quite raw black metal, not the later era modern stuff. So even more, I would say, this is Darkthrone gone clandestine blaze, or maybe that's exactly what is happening here. Is like more like clandestine blaze rendition of Darkthrone, roughly that territory, and you know what to expect from Aspaarn. This album is made in a very interesting ways, in sense that some of the riffs are really good, and then there are lots of parts where it more like feels like fillers. It's almost like having some best parts of Clandestine Blaze, having those counterparts which are not that effective. Meaning some riffs are leaving me purely puzzled, like, why is this riff here? Why this riff is made like this? Obviously, as a listener, you don't get to those answers to your questions. More so, it's more like a roller coaster ride here. I'm trying to explain it in a way that sometimes you go up and you're really enthusiastic and about it, like, yay, and then you get kind of down in a way, like more like, okay, that was the high point, that was the moment when you get like excited and happy and all that shit, because it's raw, it's violent, it's stripped down to the very bones and all. But too many riffs here are just like filling the gaps. Not trying to be mean here, I'm just saying, like, in my opinion, this is the kind of album that would definitely take the benefit of producer. Not meaning that the raw, primitive output, the production should be or could be better. I mean, it's pretty fitting for this kind of music. You really have to be in for raw end of black metal to really like it. So that's not the point here. I am not gonna say this production should be different. But those certain riffs are like, don't do it. Leave this away, leave that away. So maybe out of these 8 tracks, you could make 4 really good ones. Where it's more like 8 tracks which are like 50-50 good and just kind of a meaningless. There are certain riffs which just don't make sense at all. So it's not so much like a a certain riff is a bridge between good and better ones, and you're like, okay, it doesn't matter if there's a filler part. Like sometimes you just gonna need that kind of a chugga 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 thing. No, you don't need the chugga chugga ding dong boom dong, which is like supposed to be like, what the hell is going on here? So I'm saying a lot of good ideas mixed with not so good ideas. And sometimes those not so good ideas are almost borderline bad, which makes it in terms of numbers like this. When you have half and 8 riffs and half 4 out of 10 riffs. As a result, it becomes like 6 out of 10, you know what I mean. Now, all this being said, this is a clear successor to the debut album, which I heard and reviewed back in the day. Lots of those same kind of ideas are here, there, and still present. But I would say what would really help this band to get like to a new level would be just someone to kind of a pinpoint, being brutal about it, like don't include this and that. And this would be exactly very, very interesting project to go on with. Now, as it comes to the certain point of being a solo project and all that, and taking care of everything, yeah, in a certain ways this is exactly a good way to do it. I mean, do everything by yourself when it comes to playing certain instruments, figuring out how the songs are made, and don't let anybody to interfere. But then again, that is exactly when you're like being challenged by nasty people like me who are saying like, this could be a lot better. Now, if you're a black metal fanatic, obviously you want to check this one out, despite what I just said there, because it's in fact quite a middle finger to all those bigger bands doing really polished sound and everything is figured out, like this riff is perfect match for this kind of stuff and whatever. So with these words, check it out and links are provided in the description box. Off you go. Bye bye.